Okay, you guys, so I look a little like bleep because I'm pretty much not wearing almost any makeup, and we just like ran out of the house. It's like 8:30 in the morning or something. That's why I've got like husky morning voice going on. And today's topic, this next 2 weeks, where I'm kicking off the topic for how we handle temper tantrums at home and out in public. Today is a great day to do that because I'm actually handling a temper tantrum right now. So Sophie woke up in a mood, okay, you guys? She woke up in a mood. And like Kyle and I know when this happens, it's like not a good sign for the rest of the day. Even Kyle, when he was getting ready for work, was like, I'm so sorry. And anyway, so this is one way that I deal with temper tantrums, is that I get her out of the house and we go do something. We just go distract. So I think that's going to be like the key phrase I use throughout this whole conversation, is the fact that everything is about distraction with us and how we deal with tantrums. We just distract. Because at this age, she's 18 months, and punishment, you know, in some form, like timeouts and stuff, that's starting to work at this age, but it's not like, it doesn't work great yet. Maybe it does for some kids. It definitely is not working great for Sophie yet. So distractions and things like that. Kyle and I are big believers in, she needs to know what's right and wrong, but she also needs to know that when she does something wrong, we still love her. It's not the end of the world. It's okay. She can tell us when she makes a mistake. Sorry, you guys, had a little camera malfunction. Anyway, she can tell us when she gets, you know, has a mistake, gets in trouble. She may get into a little bit of trouble, but it's not the end of the world. And that's kind of how we try to approach things. We also, Kyle and I think parents are part of how you deal with a tantrum. And so how I deal with tantrums personally when she's having a tantrum, or just, you know, kind of being a pill or whatever, and it's exceeding the normal kind of grumps and whines of a toddler her age, which is perfectly normal. And I think though the topic here is talking about when they go beyond that and they do have those just out and out fits, which is also normal, but definitely needs to be dealt with. But anyway, so from the parents' perspective, it's just like Kyle and I have to learn patience and how to handle it, and just how to be good parents about it, I guess. And I think patience is our key word and distraction's her key word. So anyway, when she has a tantrum at home, it's obviously not as big a deal. She recently started doing the whole like go limp thing, where she'll just like go completely limp, and it's really hard to hold her, and she'll kind of try to slide to the ground. If I'm at home, I let her slide to the ground, because it's kind of, I'm 22 plus weeks pregnant, and you know, my balance isn't great, and honestly, I feel like I don't always have the best hold on her when she does that kind of thing. And so when I'm at home, I'll just kind of let her down, because it's safer when she does that, when she goes limp. I let her down, I let her lay on the ground. I really don't let her cry that long. I kind of let her cry for like a minute, and then I try to pick her up and tell her, you know what, it's okay, whatever you're upset about, it's not the end of the world. Sometimes she doesn't let me pick her up and hold her and give her a hug and comfort her. And when she doesn't do that, I'm just like, okay, well, there's not really a lot I can do, and I just let her kind of cry a little bit. But in general, I let her have like just a moment, and then I try to just like, I always try to pick her up and just say, it's okay, hon, it's okay. And I found with Sophie, a lot of times if I talk stuff through, or I go show her something else that she is allowed to do, or that I don't have to tell her no, that works. Now, when we're out in public, thankfully, we have never had a huge, crazy, major meltdown out in public yet. And I know it'll happen, but this hasn't happened yet. And so, but we've had like little mini ones, and it's the same thing. Like Kyle and I, Sophie's playing the harmonica for you guys. That's beautiful, honey. Kyle and I, we go out to eat a lot, and our families, we eat out a lot. And so Sophie's had to get used to being out at restaurants, and I actually think the exposure to being out in settings like that has helped her. you know, she's not perfect out. She still has some moments, but in general, it seems like that kind of experience has helped. So anyway, when we're out at someplace like that, a lot of times we just try to pass her around to try to prevent that. This is tantrum prevention right here. We try to keep her out of her high chair until right when the food comes, so that she's not confined until we're actually eating. Sometimes if she's, you know, and that's how we try to prevent it. We bring little toys and things. Now, if we're already out eating, that's really loud. She never plays it that much normally. Of course she would when I'm trying to do video. Anyway, if she's having a meltdown and we're out someplace like a restaurant or some whatever, we will do things like we will just try to move her, try to give her things to distract her, and if worse comes to worse, Kyle or I will get up and walk her somewhere else. We just take her out of the situation and get her away from it. Anyway, so that's just what we'll do. We'll try to remove her from the situation, basically. So that's kind of our method when we're out is distraction, give her stuff. We try to talk to her about how, you know, whatever it is she's doing or upset about, you know, why she can't do it, blah, 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 blah. She might not completely understand us yet, but we figure it's a good habit for us to start explaining things now. For us, it's for Kyle and I's sake. Yeah, maybe it's going over her head a little bit, but at some point it's not going to be over her head. And then Kyle and I are in a good habit of, instead of just telling her no without any reason or backing, we're telling her no and we're meaning it, you know? That's just kind of what that's our habit is for when we deal with this stuff. And like I said, I know I'm being distracted right now, but we have just had such a morning, and like I said, it's actually a really good time to do this because I'm not sitting there talking about, you know, oh, Sophie's hardly ever bad, da 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 da. And you know, in truth, I have a pretty good daughter. She's pretty good. And usually when she's having more meltdowns, there's a reason. Maybe she's teething, maybe she didn't sleep well, maybe she's coming down with something. In general, that's the case. But you know, we have had the mysterious, unexplained meltdowns before, and so there you go. There's not a lot of specific advice there because every child is different. I may use a completely different technique with my next kid. But for us, for now, distraction, distraction, distraction. And as she gets older, there'll be more actual punishments. You know, and when I say punishments in our family, it'll be things like timeouts and talking to. And so, yeah. I think from like a year to 18 months, distraction has been the key thing. So, and patience on our end. And so anyway, yep, like I said, so those are kind of my pointers. I know I was really kind of distracted and scatterbrained and not organized about this, but, you know, this is the result of a morning where she was having tantrums. Everything was making her fuss. You know, like I said, maybe she's teething, I don't know, but she seems in a good mood when things are going her way, but which makes me suspicious. She's talking on a fake phone right now. I don't know what she's talking about, but anyway. So yeah. So to prevent the tantrums at home when she's in a really mood that's sensitive like this, I get her out. We're going to a park right now. We're going to a special park. We're not going to our neighborhood park. We're not going to swim in the pool in the backyard. We're not doing any of that. We're going to a very special park that's away. And in this way, it's like she gets to go someplace, and whatever energy or problem she's having, you know, she can get rid of it and go relieve some of that toddler stress and have fun, and hopefully I don't have to tell her no as often, and we'll just have a better morning, and she'll get tired and she'll have a good nap and she'll wake up in a better mood. And if she doesn't, I'll do the same thing. I'll repeat. And if she's having these tantrums, you know, if she's in a really good mood and she kind of has a tantrum, it's easier to console her. And the whole let her have a moment, comfort her, tell her it's okay, suggest she play with something else method works really well. When she's in a sensitive mood and she's having everything is making her kind of have a tantrum that doesn't go her way, it's a little bit harder. And like I said, usually there's an underlining reason for why she's in that kind of mood, and I try to remember that and be more gentle or understanding. But it's hard sometimes, you know, it's hard not to get frustrated as a parent. Especially when your kid isn't like that all the time, and then they are like that, you're very like, what the heck, kid? Alright, so I think that's it for my tantrum video. Like I said, I don't have specific details. I don't think you guys need specific details. I think it just helps to know that other parents or kids are having tantrums. We don't always know the best way to handle it, and like, what the heck do you do? And, you know, maybe my next kid, I'll be able to just be like, flat out, hey, buddy, don't do that, and it'll work. You know, Sophie requires a little bit more. She requires a little bit more of, like, love. It's like she needs to know. And, you know, I think a lot of kids need to know that, you know, when they make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. I think at 18 months, that's a pretty good lesson. You know, it's hard for her to really get actual punishments at this point, but I think she is old enough to understand that, hey, you got in trouble and mommy and daddy might have told you no or whatever, but we still love you. It's not the end of the world. And you know, there's other things you can do that are super fun and you're allowed to do, and everything's going to be okay. So there you guys go. That's how we deal with the tantrums is, you know, like I said, the big thing is patience on our end, distraction on her end, and explanations. Because even if she doesn't get the explanation yet, she will one day. Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention too was one way that we help with just the tantrums is we try to get Sophie to communicate with us what's wrong. And we've always been really big on communication with kids, with babies. That's why we started doing baby sign language. We're not like some people who really do baby sign language, so don't get the wrong idea. We're not as involved as that. But how we utilize baby sign language is we picked the things that we thought were important, like eat and more and again and thank you and please, and we have incorporated those with her since she was, you know, 9-10 months old, and she uses them, and I think that that's really helped because I've even had other parents who've commented that, you know, recently Kyle was at a park. There was a little girl who was a little older. Kyle said it was a smart little girl. She wasn't unintelligent. She was a smart little girl, real friendly little girl. And he said though that Sophie was getting frustrated about something because she wanted help. So she finally looked over at Kyle and said, "Help me," and then said, "Please," and said it because now that she's older, she says the words that she learned to sign. So she actually asked him for help and said, "Please," instead of just getting upset or not using her words. And this was actually about 2 months ago, so she was only about 16 months when this happened. And Kyle said that the other mother was just like, "Oh, that's, you know, wonderful, and what a good way to use the words," and it made him really proud. And then he told me the story and I was really proud. And I think that that helps too with the tantrums. She still has tantrums, you guys, but we try to get her to use her words, you know, and it also helps prevent tantrums, the fact that she knows how to talk to us. She can say, "I'm thirsty, I need help, please open this," and she can say those things, and before she could say them, she could sign a lot of that. So I would highly recommend trying to get them to use their words or to tell you what's wrong, even if you think they're too little, because, you know, like I said, she's been doing it for a while, and of course she's my kid and I think she's super smart, but all these kids are smart. I've been around a lot of these kids. You know, we go to Little Gym, we have play dates. Kids are they're all smarter than you think. They all are. And they can do it. And so that would be a big thing I'd recommend is get them to tell you what's wrong and to discuss it. It helps. It's not perfect. She's still great, but it was way better than it could have been, you know? So anyway, I just wanted to add that. Alright guys, and I'm sorry for I hope, you know, my sexy husky voice here wasn't distracting you guys. So okay everybody, I'll talk to everybody at the next topic. Bye.